In the future, instead of selling organs for money, people may trade their lifespan for the same purpose. And a company named Eon owns this technology. They will check the DNA of the recipient and the donor. If both match, then the donor's lifespan can be transferred. Our protagonist's name is Max. He is persuading a young man who just turned 18 to sell 15 years of his life for $700,000. With this money, he can help his family leave the refugee camp and gain citizenship. Though hesitant to support his parents and marry the girl he loves, he agrees. Max then leaves the refugee camp and returns to his company. Max attends a conference there. He is honored as the Lifespan Donor Employee of the Year for convincing donors to contribute a total of 276 years of lifespan. Then the chairman of Eon, named Olivia, appears. She announces to everyone that they have just saved 15 elderly scientists who are now healthy enough to return to work and contribute to humanity. Elsewhere, the 15 scientists are in disbelief as they witness their rejuvenation. But their joy is short-lived. Suddenly, an employee kills all of them. He only targets those 15 people, leaving their families and other staff unharmed. That employee is a member of a terrorist organization called Adam. They oppose the extraction of human lifespan. The current system, in their view, turns people into livestock. So this organization constantly fights against it. Olivia is furious about this incident. She appoints a new head of security named Novak. He has 16 years of counter-terrorism experience. Meanwhile, Max returns home to his wife, Elena. The two live happily in a luxurious multi-million-dollar apartment, even though it is still being paid in installments. But Max is still doing well in his current job. The next weekend, the couple visits Elena's parents. Before entering, Elena asks Max to be accommodating to her father. However, they still end up arguing. Elena's father opposes the system and Max's current job. Meanwhile, Max defends it as a legitimate way to earn a living. He insists he is not deceiving anyone. Everyone willingly trades their lifespan for a new life. On their way back, Elena sympathizes with Max. As they approach home, both are shocked to see their apartment on fire. Elena, in particular, is terrified. Later, the police inform them that the fire was caused by their candles. Elena insists she had extinguished them. Nevertheless, the evidence suggests otherwise and they must accept it. The police also inform them that no insurance will cover the damage. The bank will repossess the second mortgage to recover the $2.5 million debt. With the house now gone, Max discovers the existence of a second mortgage. It turns out, Elena had mortgaged her own lifespan to afford the apartment. She believed they could pay it off in the future, thinking it was just a formality. But no one foresaw this disaster. To repay the debt, 45 years of Elena's life are required. As the couple prepares to leave, the police stop them. Elena is forcibly detained, for fear she might try to escape. Max promises to do whatever it takes to save her. The next day, Max meets with Olivia, the company's CEO, begging her to help and offering to repay the debt gradually. He promises to become an even better employee. Olivia tells him to submit the paperwork and she'll consider it. The following day, Max doesn't receive any response from Olivia. He enters the facility, where they are preparing to extract Elena's lifespan. No one is allowed to meet Elena. When Max sees an employee leaving the room, he tries to rush inside, but he was stopped by Sophie's secretary. Inside the room, Elena was read the court's verdict. Then the decision was executed. Elena begged for mercy, but no one listened and they proceeded as planned. Hours later, Max brought his wife home. They now had to move into a shabby apartment. The symptoms started appearing immediately. Later, when Elena woke up, she immediately ran to look in the mirror. She saw she had aged significantly, with graying hair. A few days later, Elena had fully transformed into an old woman. Meanwhile, Max continued going to the company to find Sophie. However, he only received a notification. He was being promoted to manager, but nothing more. Seeing Sophie in the elevator, Max quickly followed her, but was stopped by her secretary. Max tried asking why she didn't help him. To Sophie, $2.5 million was a trivial amount. But she said nothing and simply left. Back home, Max tried to comfort Elena, but she accused him of pitying her and pushed him away. Suddenly, Elena had stomach pain. Max rushed her to the hospital, where the doctors informed them Elena had miscarried. It turned out she had been pregnant, but the lifespan extraction caused them to lose the baby. Afterwards, to lift her spirits, Max brought Elena back to her parents' house. This time, her father didn't blame Max. Instead, he said, it was the system Max worked for that caused Elena's suffering. Hearing this, Max had an epiphany. He bought a gun and 2 fake passports for both of them. Then, Max began tracking Sophie. When he saw her entering a cemetery alone, Max snuck in through the back entrance to confront her. He was shocked to see that she had become a young woman. Sophie tried to call for help and escape, but Max caught up and tased her. He then brought Elena to a warehouse. Max told Elena that Sophie had taken 45 years of her lifespan for herself. Max had contacted an illegal clinic in Lithuania, The two would go there to reclaim Elena's lost years. Although Elena was terrified, she had no other choice. Once committed, there was no turning back. Meanwhile, Sophie's secretary and Novak arrived at the scene. They quickly realized Max was behind it, and traced him to the warehouse. However, by the time they arrived, Max had already left. While waiting for their systems to locate him, Novak and the secretary had a conversation. Novak felt that everything lined up too conveniently. Max's house burned down. The bank immediately repossessed Elena's lifespan, and it ended up with Sophie. But the secretary dismissed it, saying it wasn't their concern, and their only job was to find the missing people. Minutes later, their surveillance system spotted Max and Elena on a ship. On board, Max gave Sophie some water. But before she could say anything, he gagged her again. When they reached the port, they saw police surrounding the area. Max noticed a family preparing to leave the ship. In the end, Max forced them to transport Sophie and Elena in a cargo compartment to evade the police. Max then held the family hostage in his car, and managed to escape. The two left the family behind and reached the rendezvous point. However, they still hadn't received the coordinates for the illegal clinic. At this point, Sophie was released. Max and Elena were shocked when she introduced herself as Teresa, Sophie's daughter, not Sophie herself. Max was skeptical, saying he had never heard of her before. But Teresa explained that Sophie had hidden her existence to prevent kidnappings like this. Elena thought they shouldn't go through with it if she truly was Sophie's daughter. However, Max insisted it was Sophie, claiming she was just acting. They then hid in an abandoned house. While Teresa was showering, Elena realized she was indeed Sophie's daughter, because she had no scars from lifespan extraction machines. After locating the family, Noak's team and the secretary located Max and Elena and led a unit to the site. A while later, during arrest, Max and Elena were approached by a group of strangers. They turned out to be members of the terrorist group Atom. The three were taken to one of Atom's bases. The leader of Atom revealed that Sophie had targeted Max and Elena from the start. In fact, Sophie already knew Elena was a match for her, and Max had originally been sent as a donor agent to convince Elena to donate her lifespan. However, Max developed feelings for her and married Elena instead. This forced Sophie to find an alternative approach to reach them. It was Sophie who orchestrated the burning of their house to steal Elena's lifespan. This was never Elena's fault. The leader asked Elena to execute Teresa, but she couldn't bring herself to do it. Meanwhile, Novak and the secretary's team arrived outside. The leader wanted Max to go out, to lure Sophie inside alone. As Max spoke with them, Atom's members took hidden positions, thinking they had succeeded. The secretary realized it was a trap and prepared to draw his gun. Just as he was about to kill Max, Novak unexpectedly shot Sophie. The secretary then killed Novak. It turned out Novak was secretly part of Atom. Both sides began exchanging gunfire. Max rushed inside to rescue Elena and Teresa. During this time, they received a message with the illegal clinic's location. They took Teresa with them, unaware she had picked up a gun. When they weren't paying attention, Teresa aimed the gun at Elena, but it turned out to be unloaded. Elena gave Teresa a stern warning, and they put her back in the car. After seeing Teresa's willingness to kill her, Elena decided to extract Teresa's lifespan, as she must be a match if she matched Sophie. Max objected, saying Teresa wasn't to blame. The one at fault was Sophie, but Elena believed Sophie had died in the earlier incident. She forced Max out of the car, and drove to the clinic on her own. Elena arrived at the illegal clinic, and underwent the lifespan transfer. Shortly after, Teresa was released outside, her face blank and lifeless. She was quickly taken back to Sophie, who had survived thanks to a bulletproof vest. Sometime later, Sophie promised her daughter that she would find a suitable donor for her. Teresa, however, told Sophie that she herself was the match. But Sophie refused. As for Elena, she had regained her youth and found a new partner. Max, on the other hand, no longer supported Eon as he did at the beginning. He had now joined Atom to fight against the organization. The movie ends here. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you all and see you next time.